Hey, everybody. It is Mike. I am here with Adam of Splendid Sports and my good friend Oliver. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me as well. Yeah.
So, Adam, Splendid Sports, you're at 2,600 subscribers roughly. Oliver, how many do you have on your YouTube channel?
I have 7.
Do you really? You don't have a YouTube
No,
channel.
I don't have one.
We're here for the Larry live stream. We're going to talk about Larry King, right? Oh,
Yes.
Larry Bird. Sorry. Yeah. Larry Bird. It's 4 p.m., which is a very weird time to do a live
It
stream, but
it
It's my
is.
fault. It's
it
all my
is
fault.
it is your fault, Adam. We have 2 people watching, which is great. Thank you to those 2 people who are watching. I suspect people will watch later. I had some people who were excited about the Larry live stream. So the reason that we're doing this is because Adam has an amazing Larry Bird collection. We're all from New England. Adam, whereabouts are you from originally?
Originally from Cape Cod.
Cape Cod, and you're
Yep.
now
Okay.
in the New England sports fan maven haven of Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been here, but probably going to be moving back next year. So be back in
Oh,
New England, which would be nice.
okay. Gonna see you at some Shriners shows then.
Yeah, I plan on hitting as many of those shows. I want to go to the Fenway show for sure if they keep having that.
Yeah, yeah. Oliver and I are going to the Shriners show tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Yes, we are.
Looking
You
for
should.
some Larry Bird cards.
Always. Absolutely.
Nice.
So yeah, Adam, big Larry Bird collection. Oliver,
Mhm.
almost exclusively Larry Bird.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say probably at least 75%.
Yeah. And I know Adam has some spectacular cards and stories. And I figured we'd just get us together. I'm just going to facilitate while you guys talk because this right here is about my only. I mean, I have dozens of Larry Bird cards, but that's my only real good one. I'm strangely though, my boss's boss just completely randomly on a call the other day said, "Oh, I just got this basketball card back. Does anybody know anything about basketball cards?" And I was like, I know a little bit. And
I've heard of them.
he pulls out the 1980 Topps Larry Bird, Dr. J, and Magic Johnson card in a PSA 4 slab. And he's like, I know nothing about cards, but my friends were cleaning out their attic and they had all these cards. And he's like, oh, sure, I'll take them. And he got this Larry Bird, and somebody said you should send it off and get graded. Well, like, who gets
That-
that lucky to just have somebody say, "Do you want these cards?" And oh, here's a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rookie.
yeah, yeah, that's odd. Especially, I mean, literally his rookie. I like 92 tops maybe. He's got like 30 of them or something, but the rookie?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
So yeah, we had a long conversation about sports cards, and he doesn't know anything about them. So I was hoping he would just be like, "Oh yeah, this probably isn't worth much. Here, you take it." But no, he didn't. He
I
knew.
mean, that's
He knew.
kind of how you got me back into the hobby because we were just chatting one day. I don't know if you recall, we were talking about probably Celtics, I don't know. And you said something about Larry Bird rookie card or an early card, and I said, "Oh, I have a Larry Bird rookie card." And you said, "No, you don't." And I said, "Yeah, it's," and you said, I mean the one with, it's got magic on it and it's got, I know, and Dr. J, and you didn't believe me. So I had to go into my cellar and take a picture of it. So I was kind of your first Attic Find Friday because you then came over to my house and we rummaged through my cellar, and it was one of your first videos, I think.
Yeah, and Lou Rock has it. It's his favorite basketball card in his collection. It's the one that I want. It's
Yeah.
right up there along with Lou Alcindor rookie, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Pete Maravich. I almost
Hmm.
bought the Maravich in a PSA 2 at the National, but I didn't.
Stay patient. It's coming down and down and
I
down in
know, I
price. It's
know.
it's really coming down. So I would keep waiting
Yeah.
on that. And I think next year it's going to be even less expensive. That's the way it's looking. So
Yeah, I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping with the show tomorrow. We'll see if the show dealers have summer 23 prices or fall 23 prices, because there's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Lou Rock, thanks for joining us. So, Adam, let's start with a little story, shall we? Because I've already mentioned the 81 Tops, which is Bird's first solo card, as long as you don't consider the strip, like if you rip off the 80. Let's play a little game here, shall we? I have this. I'm going to share my screen. Well, of course, it's going to take some time because let me know when you see it.
You need an IT guy.
I don't know any.
I know. No good ones anyway, right?
Is it still not showing?
Nope.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Here we go. All right.
Yeah.
So this is from May of 2021. Heritage Auctions Sports. The finest example of Larry Bird's 1981 Topps entry we've seen. And it's a card on the rise. It joins a new collection tonight. It's a beauty. It's a PSA 10 Larry Bird. And there are today 68 in the 10, right?
Yeah.
Adam, tell us about this card.
Well, that beauty used to be mine. That, in many ways, that card is really kind of what brought me into the hobby, like I'm in the hobby now. Similar story to most people. You know, I was born in 81, so collected cards during the 80s, early 90s, took the break. Pretty much like right after college, though, maybe 2003, 2004, I started going on eBay and just buying not graded cards, but I would just be buying like Nomar cards, Pedro, a lot of the Red Sox players on those teams. And I didn't really know why. It's so easy now. Let's go back to buying cards. I get a little money now, you know. And then I took another break, and then flash forward to about 2012, 2011, and I still didn't know anyone else who collected cards. I had no idea there was any social media or YouTube for sports cards. So I would just hop on eBay when I had some extra money, and I had a list in my head of the cards that I wanted to get. And so, you know, when I saved up some money, I'd hop on and buy a Mickey Mantle card, or really it was about 2017 when I was like, I don't have any Larry Bird, like big card, like of his best cards. I had just like my childhood collection in a binder of all the, you know, the junk wax cards of Larry Bird. So two of the cards that I ended up buying were the PSA 10 that you just saw there of the 81. And I bought the PSA 10 of the 86 Fleer too. And I mean, we're talking, it was, I think one of them was $700 and the other one was $800, right around that range, right in that 700 to 900. And that was a big purchase, obviously, at that time for sure. But I was like, you know, I didn't know anything about populations or any of that stuff. I just saw them sitting on eBay, and I'm thinking, PSA 10. All right, well, I'll get these. I got some extra money. So, and then I didn't really do much with it, right? Like I had two kids from 2019, 2020. All of a sudden, I look back for this, and it was actually Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons did some sort of I think it was a podcast episode or whatever, where he was talking about sports cards. I'm like, what? What is he talking about? And he started mentioning the Larry Bird card, the 81, and he's saying, can you believe what it's selling for now? And he was launching a new podcast on his network, Sports Card Nonsense. So I was starting to hear about this stuff, and then I see on Twitter someone posted that card sold for $49,000 in January of 2021, and so you can imagine I'm thinking, what? Wait, I like ran to the closet. I'm thinking, wait, that's the one I have, right? So I'm looking, okay. So I know I had never sold a sports card in my entire life until that card right there. Never sold. And
Wow.
so I didn't know how to do it. I had an eBay account, but I've never sold off of it. So I didn't even know how to sell on eBay. I have no idea of any of these auction houses or anything. So naturally I said, well, Heritage Auctions did it once. Let's see if they can do it again. So I reach out to Heritage, and lo and behold, it took about 3 months, which worked against me a little bit. But finally in May, they sold it in their auction. And I've mentioned the price before, but it sold for $28,000. So a lot less than the previous one sold for, as you would imagine. Things had cooled a little bit, but still, I mean, it was all gravy. So,
Yeah.
and as you can see there, that every time I look at it, I miss it, but I'm still happy I sold when I did. I missed that card, but I'm happy I made that decision to sell, and I bought a lot of new cards with that money too. So some good, some bad, some bad
That
choices.
was awesome.
Yeah,
that was actually their last 10, the last 10 of that card to sell publicly, I think.
Wow.
Because I click on 10s here. Oh no, it actually sold for the same amount just a few months ago, 28,850 through Probstein, but one of them sold a year ago for 17,100.
Yeah, it had gotten down pretty low. 18, about 10,000 left, and that's a wow, that's an anomaly there. That 28,000 there for now.
Yeah. Let's look through some comments here for a sec. Let's see. Lou Rock thinks the Nationals going to be a great buyer's market. I hope he's right. Yeah, Kevin also going to the show tomorrow at Shriners. Expecting summer 23 prices. Vintage is coming down on eBay. Yeah, Mark, you gotta. Yeah, that's the 10s are so rare.
Good luck.
Yeah. The hobby
They've
was
added about 10. When I sold mine, I think there was like 58 or 59 10s, and now there's 10 more that they've graded. So
mine's
I just looked at one. I just looked at one the other day because sometimes I like to, tease myself because it's ludicrously out of my price range. But it was a really old slab, and it's definitely not a 10. Just looking at yours was perfectly centered. The one, I think there's one up there now on eBay, and it's pretty off center. I don't know how it's a 10, but you know how. Don't get us going, right, Mike, on grading.
Yeah, and Lou Rock says he enjoys his cards ungraded, doesn't need them graded. I think Lou Rock does grade some cards though, or has some graded cards. The vast majority of my cards are ungraded. 98% probably are ungraded. And I'm the same way. Adam, what would you say your percentage is of graded versus ungraded?
It's pretty high graded now. I don't have many ungraded cards anymore, and that it's just by design, the nature of the space I have, and trying to keep my collection somewhat. I'm going to be moving soon, so I just kind of want to keep it as light as I can. Someday, I do have kind of feelings of that would be cool to start collecting like binders of vintage raw cards, stuff like that. So right now, though, it's mostly graded. And with Larry Bird, the thing with his cards, his playing days cards, it's not really a chase if you don't collect graded. I mean, you can get pretty much all of his playing days cards, other than the rookie. Even the 81, you can get that ungraded very inexpensively. If you're not looking for high grade stuff, so you could get most of them right on eBay quickly. So to make it somewhat of a chase, that's why Larry Bird, it's kind of fun to play the grading game with him.
Mad City Brew, Milwaukee Bucks fan, not a Bird fan because Boston always beat Milwaukee in the playoffs, which is funny because Oliver and I went to see a Boston-Milwaukee game, and Boston absolutely destroyed them. Was that a season before last?
Yeah.
They got up to 25-point lead in the first half and coasted to victory.
Yeah, that's right. We had good seats, really good seats.
Yes, very good seats. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Were you guys friends growing up in like high school?
Oliver is significantly older than me.
Really? Don't listen to him. No. Look at. We worked together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
15 years ago, we worked together and joined a basketball league together, and we've been friends ever since.
Nice.
Worked together at 2 different companies.
Yeah.
And I stole the photo I put in the thumbnail for this. I stole from his wife's Facebook because he's not on Facebook.
That's where it came from. Okay, good. Yeah, exactly. That's, I don't know if how much you try to find new videos about Larry Bird, but he's becoming like this mythical creature with the younger generation. And there's great videos if you Google, Larry Bird GOAT debate and Larry Bird, reaction videos. There's tons of them, and it's all, younger kids. I say kids, 20s, and they are, they'll self, those Kobe fans or LeBron fans or whatever, and they're like, I've heard so much, I want to see this. And some of them are hilarious because, they're watching like the greatest hits video, and as they go on, they have to like pause and go back, and they're like, what did he just do? They're really fun to watch, and there's, like I said, there's a ton of them. So it's almost like a new wave of people learning who he is and what he did, and highly recommend trying to catch those.
I don't know what a quiche eater is, but I assume it's some Southern California insult. So, Oliver, what's your best 81 tops bird?
My best?
Yeah,
Well, it's not a 10. I'm still shooting for a 9. So
yeah,
I'm still chasing the like green label CSG
yeah.
8.5s to crack and try to haven't been successful yet. It's a really tough card to get in a 9. I've got a Magic, 81 Magic in a 9, but not a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
same
problem with
guy. One
this,
time.
Yeah,
the
sure.
problem with the CSG 8.5 to PSA 9 is SGC and CSG are far more likely to give that eye appeal bump than PSA is. That
Yeah,
half point
yeah,
eye appeal bump. But at the same
yeah.
time, your 80 tops bird was
hmm
a 2 with SGC, 2.5 with CSG, and 3 with PSA. Is that right? We
One,
For those who
three, 3, 5, and 4.
3, 3.5, and 4, yeah. So
Yeah,
for those who aren't aware, Oliver graded the same card with all three companies just to see how
just
consistent
out
they
of
would be.
curiosity. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a fun
Because
little
that's one thing.
test.
Getting back into the hobby after 25 years or whatever, the grading is just, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. It's so subjective, and I know we go back and forth all the time, but I just find it fascinating.
NBA
Guys,
Superstars highlights videos from the 80s growing up. I don't remember that. I watched a lot of This Week in Baseball as a kid. I didn't really
Yeah,
get into the NBA until, God, 89 probably. And
yep.
it was, it was a lesser obsession than baseball was for me. But I was a Jordan
Every
guy through and through, Michael Jordan.
I think it was almost an unwritten law that every Larry Bird greatest hits video in the 80s had to be set to Small Town by John Coop
yeah.
or John Mellencamp. Every single one. I don't know why, but that's the way it
Well,
was.
there was a famous. It was like an NBA video where they would have each player, and they would have like a 3-minute highlight reel. And
Yeah.
Larry Bird's was that song. Yeah, man. And oh, yeah, absolutely. Here's the. Here's my. This is a
Every time.
PSA 8.
Oof.
Oh, oof.
That
Yeah.
one's a tough one because of the black dotting.
Yeah, and
hmm
Bird. It's not the best 8 either. Like it's got some black on Bird there a little bit, but
Yep.
um, yeah, I got a
Yeah,
seven
it's always
two.
got the little line underneath Magic. The little black
Yeah,
line usually is over on that side.
What do you got,
yeah.
Oliver?
Here's my
What's
replacement.
What have I got? I don't
Oh,
know.
a 9. Nice.
Oh yeah. See,
What's the difference
that's
in
my next
price
card.
between a 10
That's
and 9?
Oh,
nine's like
huge.
5 to 800, maybe, roughly. I'd say.
Yeah,
I
crazy.
I know I pay attention to the nines way too much. So sometimes I think one just sold last week for like 580, 590 PSA. But usually it's 8 or 900. I'm
So
guessing.
just don't feed your kids for a week or a month.
Yeah,
He's thinking about it.
No,
yeah.
no, I don't think I can
The
do that.
gap is insane. It is similar to
It
like the
is.
Montana rookie and some of those big cards that it's like once you get to the leap from a 9 to a 10 is just absurd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's like Jake says, everyone ripped them. The perforations. The 80 set. It's like this aberration. I would love to meet the person that greenlit the whole, like, whose idea was that? We're going to make cards, and they're going to be in 3. It's going to be perforated. It's great. It's awesome. We're going to go with this. I and there's never been another kind of set like that I'm aware of. It just came out of nowhere. I don't
Yep.
know why.
Mellencamp is from Seymour, Indiana. That's right.
Yep, that's true.
Mookie Chilson always coming through. So Oliver,
Yep.
what's your favorite bird card?
My favorite, I'd say the 81, but the one that I want more than anything right now is the Sportscaster.
Oh
The
yeah, what year is
79.
this? Yeah, okay.
79. Yeah. And I had one. I think I told you this. I had the Steel of the Century, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. There was one, it was pristine, great shape, $50 buyout. And it was one of those things where you look at it and you're like, what am I missing? Where is the the coffee stain or the crease right in the middle of it? $50. You think there's got to be something wrong with it. And I poured over it and poured over it. I couldn't see anything. And I thought, I mean, it's $50, right? Buy it. Bought it, confirmed everything. And I had actually sent a note to the seller saying, what am I not seeing? What's wrong with it? And it maybe if I hadn't done that, I would have gotten it.
Mm.
But the guy came back and said, "Oh, my assistant left off a 0." So I was like, "Damn it." Okay. Now I probably could have, like you said, I think you told me you're like, he's obligated to sell. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But I was like, $50. Oh my God, this is perfect.
They're
So
not obligated to sell. They can cancel the sale.
yeah. Well, they did. So still looking.
Leaving off a 0, that's something you'd see on Golden Marketplace.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Great job, Mike. Great job with that, by the way.
Oh, somebody said that it was Theo, Clemente Collector, said, "You're a hobby watchdog." No, I thought it would be entertaining. I thought it was a good story. That's what I want to do, is tell good stories. So
Yeah. Do you have one, Adam? Do you have a Sportscaster bird?
No, it's funny because I was looking at that pretty recently. Because see, I did the basic set on PSA Registry, Larry Bird basic set, which is doable. It's like 20 cards or whatever. But then there's the master set, which is 204 cards, and there's just some that I don't know. I just don't want, so I'm not going to do it. And the Sportscaster is actually, that's, if you look at like the weighting for that master set, the Sportscaster is the third hardest or the third highest weighted behind the
really?
and then there's the there's the Upper Deck prototypes from 1990s, some obscure thing. But yeah, and then you get that, and then actually, this is one I showed recently. You ever seen these these put your sunglasses on, the Prism jewel stickers? Not for everyone. It's not what you'd expect out of a Larry Bird card, but this is actually like 5th in the weighted list for the
really.
registry. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It's I just don't like the eye appeal. Yeah, exactly. It's almost as bad as the Bird Michael Jordan comic book one. I forget what year it is.
Fanimation, Upper Deck.
Yeah, whatever it was. It doesn't look like either one of them.
Right.
Not my thing.
Yeah.
I have those. They're terrible, but I love them.
Yeah.
Adam, what is your favorite bird card? Was that the one?
No, I would say it's 81. But
Yeah.
I do love, as far as from the photo and stuff, I always love the 86. I don't know, something about, he was pictured on the box for I don't know all of them, but it was Bird's picture on the box of 86. So I guess that always stuck with me. But I bought this one at the same time as I got the 81 in a PSA 10. And I actually had sent this one into Heritage too. I sent both of these in at that time because this one was going for like, I don't know, 20,000, 15,000 or something like that in the peak. And so I sent it in, and I pulled it back because Heritage put a second one in for the same auction. And I said, I'm not going to run mine with another PSA 10 in the same auction. It was like madness. So they sent it back to me, and I'm glad they did, because looking back, I'm gled I kept that one.
What did that other one go for?
I didn't even look. I think it was around 10, something like that. But this is, I don't even know what it would go for now, but it's probably a fraction of what I could have gotten for it. But that's all right. I just love the card.
Favorite bird memory. I'm going to start here because I barely remember Bird growing up. I don't know why, because my dad was a massive Celtics fan and watched all the Celtics. But I went to a game in, I don't know, the late 80s. It was Celtics 76ers when Barkley played for the 76ers, and Barkley dominated, and Bird sat out with back problems. And I remember him laying on the ground on the floor to rest his back during the game. but he didn't play at all. So I don't really have a big memory of Bird. What about you, Oliver?
Well, it wasn't really the game that Bird starred in, but my first Celtics game was the playoff Jordan 63-point game in '86. So, yeah, again, it was Jordan's night, obviously, but there's so many good Bird nights, Bird games.
But let's be clear,
And
you were at that game
I was at that game. Yeah, I
when
was in,
Jordan scored
and
63.
I have tried looking. I think I told you this. I've tried look all the videos and of that game, and I can't see a chubby 12-year-old sitting on the Celtics side behind the backboard because I was in the fourth row. It was just crazy, crazy, crazy opportunity. It was
Eating from a jar of mayonnaise.
big spoon. Yeah, yep, that's what I did. They served mayonnaise back then at the Garden. It's odd. No, it was just a great night. My cousin and I, we got my father and my uncle got nosebleed seats, and we got scalp tickets. I remember they were $75 a piece in 1986, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's big money," And it was fourth row, and it was back then. We were 12 and 14 or whatever. Kids could kind of still get up and at halftime, and I remember we ran over behind the Celtics bench and kind of accosted the players and trying to get pictures. And I remember like Robert Parrish was 18 feet tall, right above me, and it's just great memories. And we talked about this recently. I have those tickets somewhere, those ticket stubs, and those go for I don't know, $5,000 roughly.
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
Depends on what the stub is,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
one it is,
yep.
and what the condition is.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's so many good Bird games. Obviously, a 60-point game, but the game where he was
60-point game was against the Hawks, right?
It was, yeah. It was in New Orleans for whatever reason, but yeah, that's a good story too. Everyone guarded him. Everyone tried to guard him. And if you look at the video, the Hawks bent it. So it should have been 63 because he hit a fadeaway three and he fell on the trainer, the Hawks trainer, but they didn't count it. Nowadays it would have easily counted. But if you look, the Hawks bench, they just jump up and they're cheering. They're losing their minds. And Doc Rivers, recounts it years later, and he's like, the film session later that week was the worst. It was just Mike Fratello just playing it over and just rewinding it like 50 times, and he was just looking at the guys. But it's really funny because they're all losing their minds because he was unconscious. He couldn't miss. He was throwing up just crap shots. It reminded me of you in our work league, just throwing up like 37-foot bombs off the backboard, calling it. But he had another game too where he would have had a quadruple double. It would have only been the third one, I think, in history. He was one steal or one block away by the end of the third, and he just decided not to play the fourth quarter. He said, "I've done enough damage." But I mean, that's pretty crazy. In those 3 years, his MVP years, he was just untouchable. He just played with teams. That's why he did the left hand game, right? He chose to play against the Trailblazers again with his left hand, and I think he had like 47. So yeah, it's things like that younger generations, they have no idea about, and they watch these videos on YouTube and they're just losing their minds. So
Adam, favorite Bird memory?
Yeah, so I really I don't have a great memory when I was a little kid. So
How old are you, by the way? You're
42.
40. Yeah.
Yep. So I just missed the window, when they won their last championship in '86. I don't remember watching that, or even '87, but right around '88, that's kind of when I remember watching Larry Bird games, like in live. Of course, I've gone back and watched all the stuff, but one that sticks out was the duel he had with Dominique Wilkins. I remember watching that game when they beat it was, I guess it was game 7, and him and Dominique, it just felt like each time down the court it was just like a one-on-one game. He would score, Dominique would score, and then the Celtics came through with that one. So I just remember loving that game. And then the other one is, you remember the Portland game where he hit his head on the floor? He banged his head on the
that
floor.
was Indiana
Was it
playoffs.
Indiana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And he had to leave. It was like game 5, I believe. and he had to leave the court.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Triple overtime. I think he scored 49 points and he came back.
Oh, that was a different one. That was Portland. You're right. That was and that was late in his career. He was barely upright at that point, but he threw a 3-pointer in, the ugliest 3-pointer I've ever seen anyone shoot. I don't even know if he jumped, but he like shot it here and it was straight and it just went in, with no time on the clock. So
nowadays he never would have come back into that game. Concussion protocol.
No.
Never.
And those are some of the. Yeah, absolutely. He's had a couple of games. The Indiana game where he absolutely was concussed and he had a broken eye socket, and that was actually I think that was the second or third time he'd broken his eye socket. He early in his career, like 81, he really broke his eye socket. And there's a story about how I forget the trainers, Ed Lacert or maybe it was Phil Melchiori. He like had to kind of push his eye back in. It was almost like a Vols like coming out of that. But yeah, definitely would not have kept playing. That's for sure.
I played basketball in 5th grade with this kid, Billy Lehman, who this was in Bath, Maine, Bath Rec League, and he absolutely smashed his head on the floor. Left the game for it was a playoff game. I think it might have been the championship. Left the game, and then his father was the coach. His father told him to get back in. He went back in and dominated, and we won because of him. Never see that now.
Probably had no recollection of playing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really you look at how the load management now. And you look at the games back then, like. Jordan played all 82 games. He won Defensive Player of the Year. Led the league in scoring, and just they don't do that now. It's just a different era.
Yeah. Wemby this year. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. Wemvp. So 96, 97 Upper Deck, those perforated collector's choice cards, those are awful. I have some of them. I have like a Kobe rookie.
Really? I didn't know there was another set with that were perforated.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Garnett, that is his 2nd year. Maybe.
Oh yeah. It wasn't a full set. It was just like some special cards, I think.
Yeah. 88 starting lineup Bird was good too.
Yep. I think I got that. Let's see.
Yeah, I think I do.
I got that somewhere here.
He does have the ticket stub. Oliver, where is that? Where are your ticket stubs? This is a fun story.
Yeah, I have other ticket stubs. So we got talking about this, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I remember saving them. So I started digging through my cellar, and I was finding other stubs. I was finding, Red Sox stubs from '88, because who doesn't want a 1988 Red Sox game stub?
Morgan Magic.
Yeah. I think I saved it because it was a game, or maybe '89. I saw Bo Jackson, and then I had another one where I saw Kirby Puckett, but. And I had other Celtics ones, but I cannot find the Celtics one, the Jordan game one, unfortunately.
But there it is.
Yeah.
But you think you know where that Jordan 63-point game ticket is?
I think I do. Yeah. And because like all of us, when you are in your early 20s, you don't really have a place. So you're moving stuff around, stays at your parents' place, and then you move it elsewhere. I think it is. I think they are. I remember putting my stuff in my uncle's cellar, and I have a big family. I've got like 8 or 9 uncles and aunts and uncles, and I think it may still be down there. But it's going to be tough to get in there because I'm not laughing, but he suffers from schizophrenia, and I haven't talked to him in a long time. So it's kind of like I don't know, Mike. It's like an Indiana Jones kind of thing. Do you think we could venture north and figure out how to get into that cellar? I mean, 4 tickets, what, $5-6 grand a piece. I say you distract him. You distract him, and I'll go in.
Okay. Cellar find Friday. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Seriously. Yeah. Exactly.
92 Dream Team. That was going to be I was going to say that as far as. Larry Bird was obvious. He was basically retired. He had retired almost before that, but he just kind of did that just to be on that team. And that for me as a kid, I was 11. That was my most excited I ever remember being for anything, was that 92 Dream Team. I was more excited about that team than any sporting event, or that's it for me, that team. And knowing Bird was on it with it as a teammate with Magic Johnson was just the coolest thing ever. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It was so great to see the pros, come back. I mean, at that point, the college kids, they weren't doing, I mean, they weren't destroying teams like they always had been, save for the
John,
72.
I am wearing the shirt that you gave me. This blue shirt here is the shirt that you gave me, my friend. Sorry, Oliver. I had to.
You need an ascot. Really
I'm wearing
class
my.
this thing up,
I don't even know what an ascot is.
This shirt.
I should.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's a good one.
I should have thrown
That
on my
is a good one.
Celtics sweatshirt, but I was still working, and I was like, oh, I gotta pop into this live stream.
Yeah, that's funny.
So Sammy, Oliver was just talking about this probably right before you joined. He wants this, and he had a story of where he almost bought one for $50.
Yep. I bought it. It's paid and everything, and it got refunded. The guy reached out to me. He said my assistant left off a zero, so still a good price at $500, but out of my price range. Yes, that's true. The Grateful Dead, they donated the jerseys to the Lithuanian bronze medal team because
That's
of
a
Bill
wild
Walton,
fact.
kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Huh. Was that sportscaster card graded?
Nope. It was in mint shape. It was in great shape, which is why I didn't know why. I looked at it and there had to be something wrong with it. So I was hesitant, but I finally pulled the trigger, but all for naught.
So Larry Bird is the only chap. We're British here, John. I would start at any of the five, so you would start him at any of the five. I've watched a lot of Justin Holiday the last couple weeks. There's a guy you could start at any of the five positions. Justin Holiday? Yeah. Wait.
Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday. Thank you. I knew that didn't seem right.
Yeah.
What a player, man. I'm so happy the Celtics have him.
Me too.
They're guarding they've got him guarding fives every game.
Yeah. That's what he does. He's Marcus Smart with an offensive game.
And I don't think he's as crazy too. He probably won't beat up hotel rooms and stuff every year. So
true.
Did Smart do that?
Yeah, I think one year he broke his hand, or he had
his
cut out his hand. He broke a mirror in a hotel room.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he almost cut nerves and tendons. Could have ruined his career.
Yep.
Hey, Adam, what's the best basketball era in your opinion?
Best basketball era was the 1980s. It wasn't the most popular because of TV and stuff like that. A lot of the games were tape delayed, some of these things, but for me, that was the best basketball, 80s. And, a lot of people will say the 90s because Michael Jordan, but Jordan took part in some of the 80s. So I'm going to carry that over.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s guy. I'm a 2020s guy. I love the current iteration of basketball. Oliver?
I'm with Adam. Although, I think 80 to 95, 96, or end it with Jordan, end it with 98. I think that's the best era, hands down, because you still had, they were absolutely athletic. You had athletic freaks, maybe not, to the extent they are nowadays, but you also had, everybody had a mid-range jumper. Everybody could shoot, maybe not threes because, it wasn't really allowed. But and you had great rivalries. I don't think you have the same kind of rivalries. Everybody's friends, which I kind of liked as a kid. Obviously, it helps when you're a kid and you've got the good guys and the bad guys, but you never saw Bird and Magic, getting along on the court, and they had those, knockdown, drag out fights. The famous Kurt Rambis clothesline by Kevin McHale, that was great. And the thing is, that wasn't even not only did he not get fined or he didn't even get kicked out of the game. It was just a regular foul. It wasn't a technical, just a regular foul. Yeah. I like that.
Reggie Lewis cards, there really aren't any valuable Reggie Lewis cards, at least not from his playing career. But I did have another YouTuber who private messaged me with a rookie Reggie, I think it's 89 hoops, Reggie Lewis card that was autographed. And that is insanely rare. And he offered it to me. Yeah. It was unauthenticated. He offered it to me at the authentication price, the price that you would charge for, like, he found comps that were authenticated.
Mhm.
I was like, ooh, I really wanted it badly,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to pay the amount that you would pay for it to be authenticated. And he got it authenticated and then offered it to me again for significantly more. And I was like, I'll wait for another one to come up that I can pay for, at a comparable price than
Yeah.
not this. And I understood why he wasn't. He didn't want to get rid of it. He was just being nice to say, if you want it, I'll sell it to you for this amount. 80s best era. Yeah, I get why people say the 80s. I just barely remember the 80s in baseball and basketball. So I was a Jordan guy. So I'm a 90s all the way. Yeah, I understand. A lot of people can't stand today's NBA. I have this conversation with my dad too. I love it.
Yeah.
I watch as much as I possibly can.
I mean, I enjoy it. We talk about it, but I just don't think it's as good as what it's not as good a product overall, in my opinion. But it's still entertaining,
Today's players are modeling themselves after players, and it seems like the elite stars are doing everything in the game the way Bird and Magic did. Yeah, so like Luka, for instance, averages 32, 10, and 9 or something crazy. Jokic,
Yeah.
triple-double a game. Russell Westbrook. Yeah, maybe.
But the thing that gets lost is I feel like a lot of people don't go back and watch. They look at the stats like, oh, Larry Bird had 60 points or whatever. He won the championships, but it was how they did it. Magic too. I'm not just saying Larry Bird. How Magic and Bird did it. If you actually watch how they got 10 assists or 15 assists, it was art, man. It was just like watching. It was unbelievable the way they did no look passes, and it was just more entertaining to watch than Luka might get a triple double, but half the game he's just sitting there dribbling and one on one. I mean, it's just not. If you like team basketball, it's not for me, I guess.
That's why I love the Warriors of the teens. They for a while, they played beautiful basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Shriner Show, $15. 5 of the Bird Brown Brewer, PSA 6 or 7. Regret, yeah. Maybe this year, Brian. Are you going to be there this weekend? D Brown was at the I mean, he had the. It was like an early dab.
Shoes, right? He had the the Nike pump.
I had those Reebok pumps. I had those, and I would during my basketball games in middle school. Or
did you stop the game? You're like,
at a timeout, I'd kneel down, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Kneel down in front of everybody and pump, 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 pump.
Oh man.
Do you guys collect any Garnett cards or any of the players from the Celtics team, Paul Pierce or any of those guys?
I have rookie of the 07 team. I have rookie autographs of most of those players except Pierce, Allen, and Garnett because the prices are outrageous for the rookie autographs.
Yeah.
Oliver?
No, not really. I mean, I've got some, but I don't really seek them out.
That was a great time, man, watching that team because, especially for someone like me who I don't remember any of the championships from 86.
Yeah.
We went 86 to 2007, basically. And it was not like we just didn't win, but the Celtics were terrible for most of those years. A lot of the years they were the worst team in the league or they were middle of the pack. There was never a year where you felt like they had a chance to win the championship until they got Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I still think, you go from Len Bias. If Len Bias, you play the what if game, Len Bias, the end of Bird's career, the end of McHale's career, the end of, Parrish's career. You got a fresh Len Bias who is a slightly bigger, a lot of people said, version of Jordan. And then you had, Reggie Lewis coming in 90, 91, I think. I mean, that really would have been a great trend. The 90s wouldn't have sucked so badly for the Celtics if those guys had stuck around.
I wish Len Bias had a card. He doesn't have any.
I know.
Imagine if he had a card somehow.
Yep.
So they played defense claim. So right now, this year, this was last year. Sorry, 114 points per game. That's way up. It was 100 as recently as 2014. Average points per game.
Yeah.
It was 96 in 2011, which is crazy. 93 in 2003. 91 in 1998, 91 points per game. But in the 80s, it was right around where it is now, 110, pretty consistently there in the 80s, 110 in the late 70s. So they played defense, but it was different. They were still just as many points being played. So I don't know. I'm not saying, and I'm not disagreeing. Just I really don't know. I don't know the history like I would with baseball necessarily. Brian will be there tomorrow. Sammy talking about the game being more physical. The rules allowed them to be a lot more physical.
Yeah,
in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. NBA VHS tapes, man.
Oof. There you go.
Yeah. No look passing easier in the 70s. Today's NBA is the elite of the elite. That's right. 70s and 80s from part-time athletes to a large extent. Jordan changed the NBA. Yeah, I mean, Jordan, like David Robinson after him, came out far more muscular than anybody else was at that time, although there were some, of course, but Jordan was much more athletic and muscular at the same time. Today's game isn't as fundamentally sound. Players are soft, and today's game is essentially just three-pointers and dunks. Yeah, I mean, they moved the mid-range shot out by 5 feet. So guys used to take a lot more mid-range, and then teams started saying, why are we taking 15-footers when we can take 20-footer, however far away a three-pointer is, and get just about the same efficiency, but a quarter of a point more on average per shot. So, yeah, but there's still just as many. If you look at the percent of shots that are outside of the paint, it's the same as it was 10, 15 years ago before Steph Curry changed the game. It just happens to be that
it's
the
just
percent
the
of
evolution of the game.
three-pointers went up.
Yeah.
Well, NBA is going the other way that MLB is getting faster, which people like. NBA games are too long now. There's too many reviews, and it's just too slow now. They're going the wrong direction.
College basketball, just as awesome in the 80s. I think college basketball was better because guys had to play. They couldn't come out after one season like they can now. So you actually had guys playing 3 or 4 seasons. I don't remember the exact number, but so you actually had rivalries. You had commitments to these teams instead of a guy saying, I'm going to go play at wherever, Duke, like Cooper Flagg just committed to Duke. Cooper Flagg, Maine, just committed to Duke, and you know he's only going to be there for 1 year. John saw Len Bias in person.
Wow.
Yeah, Oliver and I have talked about Len Bias on that Celtics team in 86, 87 or 87, 88?
86, 87.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that would have been, they played the Lakers and lost, the Magic, the baby skyhook. And, I mean, they were hurting. So Bias probably would have led the team in scoring at that point.
Yeah, the bird rule.
Yep. Yeah, and I like the story about, I don't know if you've probably heard it too, about how, Bird was drafted, and he really liked baseball. So he tried out, or he played a game for Indiana State for the college team. And I think he was like 2 for 4, something like that. But he got hit, like he was running at first, and I can't. Oh, he played first, and someone like leveled him, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing this anymore." But he also played softball. Softball was really big in the country, back then, 70s and 80s, men's league softball, and he caught I think a line drive like right off the tip of his shooting finger and shattered his knuckle. And this was before he played an NBA game. So he had to go and practice or shoot around in front of Arbach to, just to make sure that he was still, good. And he was fine, but he always said that he never quite had the same shooting touch after he shattered that knuckle. Because you could, the finger he sticks up after the 3-point, the ball's in the air in 86. It's crooked. It goes completely sideways. But that's from that. So
Hakeem Olajuwon is one of my all-time favorite basketball players.
Me too.
Yeah.
Love
Yep.
Hakeem.
Oh yeah. I would put he and McHale as the two best low post moves
It's his
ever.
rookie card right there.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Love Hakeem. Bought that at the
Yeah.
Portland, Maine card show for $40, and it
Wow.
got
Yeah.
graded. It
awesome.
came back
You
to
thought-
7.
Yeah, you thought it had a blemish on it or something, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
the
or
seller
guy that
said
sold
to
it did.
me.
Yeah.
Seller
Yeah.
said to me, "Look, this," and he was very honest. He said this has a sunspot on it, and it won't grade very high. And I looked at it, and I looked at PSA 10s or SGC 10s,
Mhm.
and I was like, some of these have this very spot in the same exact place. And so I sent it off to SGC, and sure enough, I got a 7. He was happy for me, but he was also mad at himself. So I told him. He remembered actually that he's a great seller. He remembers who he sells cards to. So I went back and he's like,
Yep.
"Did you get that Hakeem graded?" Yeah, Ted Williams Larry Bird baseball card. I have that card. It's where he's bent over at the waist with a glove on, I think, right? Is that the one? And it's kind of sepia toned almost.
Right. I think that's from that game at Indiana State.
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Oliver,
which
you do only playing days bird? You do post playing days bird cards?
You know, I used to, but then the more I get into it, there's some really good ones. You know, Mike just got a 10 back of
nice.
the Bowman. There's some really nice looking ones. So
yeah, you like those missing years ones.
I do. Yeah. So I don't know if you probably have the whole run probably in Gem Mint 10s, but it's the years Topps didn't produce a card, so they've got like an 82 Bird, which looks like 82 Topps, you know, baseball, 83, 84, all the way up to what 92, I think 91.
I actually have none of those.
Oh, really?
On your last video, you guys did the bird. You mentioned it, and I was like, writing it down. I gotta get that.
Yeah, they're really cool.
I need some of those for sure.
I can't find any right now, but yeah, those are pretty cool. I really
NBA
like
Hall of Famers. The biggest Bird fan's got to be Bill Walton.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, Bill Walton loves Larry Bird.
He does the best press for Larry Bird. He talks about him like he's this just mythical figure.
Well, he is. You know, I mean, what did Bill Simmons calls? What's his nickname for him? Right, Basketball Jesus.
Basketball Jesus, yeah.
Step back 3-pointers a try. Yeah, absolutely. And Oliver and I talk about this every day. We text each other videos from Instagram.
We do.
They're designed for this very thing, just to make old guys like us mad.
Apparently,
and it's just, is this a travel? And I text them to Oliver. He texts them to me. This is a travel.
Mission accomplished. It is too. And there's some really good YouTube videos that really, you know, drill down into what was a travel in the 70s or what was a carry. I mean, if you had your ball, you know, they make fun of people dribbling back then, but man, if you had your hand even barely over on the side of the ball, carry, you know, travel. Offensive fouls, you couldn't do anything. I mean, if you just bump someone on a drive, offensive. So it's an old man, old head kind of thing. But it drives us nuts. The travel or nah, you know.
Yeah, and we always joke that the only people who ever get called for traveling are the Celtics.
Yeah. Yep.
True.
You sound like Tommy Heinsohn now.
Yeah, except we're joking, and Tommy Heinsohn was just
he was serious. Yeah. You know what? The thing I love about Bird too is he does. You don't hear much about him anymore. Like, you know, he's not on social media like Magic Johnson is, making a fool of himself.
Oh my God, Magic!
He's like he kind of went away, and I love that of a player collecting a player in the hobby. If he's still alive, I love to not hear much about him. You know, I don't like that with some of these players. Like even after they retire, they're just like all over the place. And
Paul Pierce, you know.
Paul Pierce, just go away. Magic's Twitter account is basically him just saying, the Dodgers scored more runs than the Padres today, and that's why we won.
Yeah.
You send those
James
to me.
had 32 points, and we won. Okay, good.
Yeah, those are great. I love those.
So let's wrap this up. Let's go through this real quick. Someone put a hit on his life, told him not to come to the timeout huddle. Timeout was called, and Casey Jones felt an arm on his shoulder. I must be missing something. Casey then looked at. Must be the max amount of what he could put in this comment. Am I missing something?
Probably. Yeah, he's probably finishing it up.
Doug. So everybody says that Oliver looks like Larry, a better looking Larry, of course. 'Cause Larry,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's 70 years old now, so I hope so.
so are you.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Oliver turned 50 this year, so
I did.
Really?
Yep.
I wouldn't have thought that. I would have said
Mike
35.
looks. Yeah, exactly. When Mike and I are together, they're like, Mike's younger? No way. He looks terrible. He looks awful.
Since Europe hadn't been discovered yet, there was no Euro step garbage. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. Adam, any more cards you want to show off?
Well, let me show this one. This one gets lost. I don't know how you guys feel, but it's kind of a goofy card, but this is actually the hardest
87.
one.
Yeah.
This is the hardest one to find in Gem Mint.
That's nice.
Yeah. Because it's up on
Is that
the
Rambus?
upper,
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's on the upper left of the sheet, apparently, and that the sheets were notoriously like just really off center. So his is like the worst. So yeah, the pop 10 of that is crazy low.
I think it's like 32.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oliver grew the bird stash in 2014. We were doing Movember at work.
Yeah.
And none of us had good mustaches, but yours was not
mine
good
was
either.
Egregiously bad. Mine was the worst. Yeah. I'd like to find a really nice version of the 80 team photos. The pop 10 of this is the rarest bird, apparently. For the pop 10 is like 11, I think, last time I saw. So
hold that up again, because I've never seen that.
Yeah, in the 80 set, they did all the team photos.
Oh, nice.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
And then yeah. And I like the big star cards. I got to get these graded. I'll be adding these in our next shipment, Mike. I'm trying not to get some glare here.
Those are giant. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Short shorts. Who wears short shorts?
Hey.
Yeah. And bring them tomorrow. I will.
I will. See, I just got 9. I got mine back. What was it? A 7, Mike? I think.
Wait, hang on. You gotta give me a second, Adam.
If I send this to PSA, they'd probably give me a 7 too. But
that's what I did. Mine was a Beckett. Mine was a Beckett 8.5, I think.
Yep.
So yeah.
I guess it's a short print.
It is.
Yeah, it's a cool card.
Yeah. That year, there's only I think 5,000 cards printed of pretty much everything in that set.
Okay.
So that's really limited.
Yeah, Brian, Oliver and I will be there tomorrow. So say hey if you see me, or say hey to Oliver if you prefer him, which my wife probably does too. Oh, that didn't sound right, did it? These guys reminiscing is the giveaway. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
All right. This is an hour of awesome
this was great.
80s basketball talk. Thank you guys. I appreciate you coming on. And I hope everybody enjoyed. And then video tomorrow for the Shriner show.
Next Friday we're doing Danny Ainge, right?
Danny Ainge. Yep. And then Dirk Minifield.
How Danny Ainge fleeced Minnesota with that Rudy Gobert trade.
Oh yeah. He always fleeces people with trades.
Hey, the Tatum draft. I mean, come on, that was amazing.
All right, guys. Thanks, and thanks to everybody for watching. See you all soon.
See ya.
You guys.